The second speaker of this session is Dr. Radha Kapuria. So let me introduce her quickly. Welcome, Dr. Radha. Dr. Radha Kapuria is Associate Professor of South Asian History at Durham University, UK. Her research explores the intersections of South Asia's regional, gender, migration, sonic and environmental histories. Her first book, Music in Colonial Punjab, Quotations, Bards and Connoisseurs, 1800 to 1947, received special mention by Karwa Heritage Book Award Jury 2024. She is co-editor of Punjab Sounds, In and Beyond the Region and Performing Nature. Ecology, Nature, Ecology and the Arts in South Asia, both published by Routledge in 2025. So, we welcome you, Dr. Radha. Please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you to the organizers. Thank you, Pragya, for that generous introduction. I must say it's a real honor to go after Professor Vidis, who is in some ways my grand supervisor because he supervised my own PhD guide, Professor Catherine Schofield, and I was lucky enough to attend some of Professor Vidis's lectures at SOAS. In contrast to the very cited ethnomusicological approach in Professor Vidis's paper, my presentation is more a bird's eye view of a region, and I have changed the title to suit the material I will present. So the title now is Sounding the Region, Music, Memory and the Making of Punjab. So at an interview in 2021 in London, with noted independent scholar of Punjabi music and wrestling, B.S. Kanwal, he narrated a childhood story of growing up in 1930s Hoshiarpur in East Punjab, a time when the elders in his village had two major passions, attending wrestling matches and listening to qawwali and classical musicians. At one of these wrestling akhadas, he once heard Dina Kawal Jalandhari, the famous musician, perform qawwali in a frenzied, physically vigorous way, jumping out of his seat to arrive at the sun. This performance ignited Kanwal's early curiosity at the mysteries of music. The village Gurdwara was another crucial site of musical performance, and Kanwal remembered the wife of a Granthi who used to sing the shabad, Deen Dayal Ji, Dasso Mainu Kithe Gaye Sade Lal Ji, which is a shabad lamenting the loss or departure of a beloved son. And it was a shabad that harkened back to the history of Sikh martyrdom and was so emotionally powerful that listeners in the congregation were moved to tears. And in this image here, Kanwal is actually describing to me how people were moved to tears with, as you can see, with his hand gesture. And I'll quickly play a short clip of Dina Kawal Jalandhari, not singing a qawwali, but a Soni Mahiwal, a folk legend, the love legend. So this musical sensory world also reveals how space and music came together to affect the sensorium. It also indicates the key role that sound and music played in everyday quotidian experience in Punjab as entertainment, but also as community building and as affective sacred practice. Such communities could equally be political, participating in both local activity and national narratives. So Kanwal's anecdote also confounds binaries of genre, classical versus devotional or folk, which studies of South Asian music often rely on. The fondness of qawwali among Sikh families belies the community-based divisions that continue to saddle Punjab. And this is a Sufi shrine in Fagwara in East Punjab, where Dina Kawal is meant to have sung very often. To return to Kawal, as a first-generation migrant to the UK, his account gives us a nostalgic portrait of the old country, the Shabad functioning as a sound bridge between past and present, passed down across generations, invoking the history of Sikh martyrdom and identity. So the Shabad then not only marks through sound the gathering of a community in the present, but operates as a technical substrate to the imagination and very identity of Punjab. So now from this example of religiously informed community identity, let us jump cut to another moment heard in this song. The translation is up on the screen. So this is the famous Punjabi singer Gurdas Mann singing this very popular line, which was actually originally sung by a Pakistani folk musician. And it says, "The roads to Peshawar are far, at the border at Wagah," which is, the speaker is clearly in Amritsar. She, the beloved, asks the way to Lahore. So this song found reference in a popular YouTube cooking video hosted by the Indian chef Ranveer Brar, where he gives instructions on making a delicious Lahori Malai kofta. Brar hums the song and connects with a colleague from Pakistan, Jamshed Bajwa, who is then at that time located in Doha in the Middle East, who reprises the song at the episode's close. Bajwa invokes Punjabiyat as spilling across boundaries, Punjabiyat or Punjabiness, and it shows up in his comments on culture, food, and music, ending with this map showing us the two cities, the two twin sister cities divided across the new borders. So this song, stitches together a popular oral imagination of Punjab, which fluidly spans East and West Punjab and the diaspora. Watched by huge audiences across the world, the episode foregrounds Punjab's resonance across political national borders, and the song itself becomes the media object through which transnational memories are mediatized and crafted. In contrast to this, Kanwal's account, the first anecdote, is mediated through the performative and technical in the past, the voice of the Granthi's wife, the space of the wrestling pit or the akhada, and the holy book, not through digital technology. So together, this brief selection of anecdotes offers us, firstly, an awareness of the heterogeneity of Punjabi music, which is otherwise stereotyped as Bhangra. Secondly, an understanding of Punjab as not one, but three in India, Pakistan, and the diaspora, and an insight into how sound structures memory, mediation, and the region. And with these observations, we arrive at the key question, which a recent volume I've co-edited asks, which is, how do sound and region inform each other? In this volume, with my co-editor, Vibhuti Duggal, I map the malleable and mobile nature of the region, arguing that it only exists in doing, knowing, and feeling, by stressing the various technologies of sound that allow region to function as a process, not a given. We postulate then that the region is not a what, but a how. Its inherent quality is resident in its regioning, in practices and technologies that do the region. In other words, how do certain sounds do Punjab? For us, a region emerges only in what we term regioning, in words, gestures, objects, and techniques that do the region. So regioning sound means certain sounds bear the trace of the region more than others, implicating not merely the singer and instrumentalist, but also the listener. Sound is what allows the region to function as a verb, and I'm curious to see how these insights may travel to other regions in South Asia. Now, in Punjab, the sound most associated with the region is that of the dhol, and it was with the rise of Bhangra pop in the late 1980s and the connections with globalization that dhol and bass-laden Bhangra became, they enjoyed a ubiquity far transcending their spatial and ethnic origins. Music, therefore, became part of a sign system representing Punjab, and certain sounds became identified with the Punjabi region and vice versa. To look at an example of how this happens, let's consider another instrument, which is the tumbi and its distinct jangling. The sound is colloquially called the tung tung sound, which does Punjab by signifying the region orally. Most popularly heard in this 2012 song by Sneha Khanwalkar called Tung Tung Baje. The lyrics in the song itself produce the sound of the tumbi as both emotionally connected and embodied, while also mimetically onomatopoeic. Especially the line "Tere mere dil vich loud vajda tung tung." So let's quickly listen to this. So Khanwalkar's version stands out also for recording the ambient sounds of Punjab, whether it's the factory sirens, the revving tractor engines, alongside vocalizations like ha and oe and ve, apart from dubstep. So this is a piling of sounds which index Punjab and make it a very apt example of sound signaling the region. And so in such rhythms and sounds, the region is made. But these sounds are also reinforced in the abiding folk Punjab stereotype that Bollywood has marketed, the folksy, hearty, happy-go-lucky beats. And this shows up in homogenized descriptors of Punjabi music as loud, rhythmic, peppy, and that is represented by genres like Bhangra, Gidda, Qawwali on the one hand, and other descriptors like melodic, soft on the other, represented by Shabad Kirtan on the other. And in some cases also the martial and masculine sounds, as in the wars of the Tat Sarangi tradition, or indeed the explicitly violent pop songs of a range of male pop musicians. Now, each of these stereotypes and genres of music draw from pre-colonial forms, but their dominance as signals for the region today over the association of Punjab with classical music, which is an equally rich tradition in Punjab, is grounded in the changes that were inaugurated with colonialism. But beyond these films where there is a Punjabi protagonist or films set in Punjab, Punjab sounds have now begun extending to films which are not set in Punjab. So it's become a popular sound associated with love and weddings. And these are just two films out of many, one set in Madhya Pradesh in Bhopal and the other set in Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh, where none of the protagonists speak Punjabi, but the love song and the wedding song becomes a Punjabi song. Now I want to connect this image of the folk, lusty love song of Punjab to the built heritage of contemporary Indian Punjab, especially the dancing statues of Amritsar. This is at the Fawara Chowk roundabout on Amritsar's Heritage Walkway, where until January 2020, there were two platforms showcasing Punjab's folk dancers. On the right, you had 4 statues of turbaned Sikh men performing Bhangra. And on the right, on the left, you had 4 women in Punjabi village dress performing the Gidda and the Kikli. This was inaugurated in 2016 by Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal. And these dioramas were meant to encapsulate the view of Punjab as, folksy, earthy, rural, convivial, quintessential Punjab, symbolizing that to tourists. However, on 15th January 2020, these statues were vandalized by 7 Sikh youths following earlier peaceful protests against their proximity to the Golden Temple. And this protest and the sentiment was supported by the apex Sikh bodies and also the bodies representing musicians connected to the Golden Temple. And then, therefore, these were removed and now gather dust outside the Heritage Tourism Board's office. So the brief life that these statues had neatly exemplifies several tropes around the Punjabi performing female body. The fear of the carefree, singing and dancing woman has deeper roots, connected to the image of the sensual and sexually excessive body of the courtesan. The main musical spaces where sexual excess is today allowed to exist are women's wedding songs in the context of this kind of wedding, which is shown in this beautiful painting at the Lahore Museum. And I'm going to just show you one song which has been very popular in recent times in a Punjabi film called Bajre Da Sitta, which shows you the female protagonist who is a married woman singing this very popular song.
सारी रात तेरे तक नियरा तारिया तो पुछ जानवे वे मैं तेरे लिए होया तबा लारिया तो पुछ जानवे.
So these are the lyrics to this song, which was originally composed for a film in 1948 called Chaman. And it's a song of longing, yearning for the beloved. But it originally appeared in Chaman, in this film from 1948, in a very different context. It was performed not by a domesticated married woman in the space of the home, as we saw in the 2022 film, but instead it showed up like this. So as you can see, the song was originally written for a courtesan character who is shown here performing accompanied by 3 male musicians, presumably mirasis. The film was released in 1948, which is about 30-40 years after the social religious reform movement that started in the 1890s that sought to outlaw courtesans and dancing girls. But courtesans were still a presence in Punjabi society enough for them to show up regularly in a film like this. Chaman was also the first Punjabi film to be made in India after partition, and even though it was made in India, it first premiered in Lahore on 6th August 1948 before being released in Bombay and Amritsar. Releasing in Pakistan was a strategic decision by the filmmakers, since most of the audience for Punjabi cinema stayed there, while the industry itself had migrated to India. So this relationship with partition illuminates the third major point with which that I want to highlight today. Which is the partition of 1947 and the India-Pakistan border, which continues to mark the largest yet the least acknowledged impact on Punjab's sounds and music. This is, of course, evident in the continued resonance of Punjabi music across the borders throughout the 20th century, but also in the sound of nostalgia and in online spaces like YouTube and streaming platforms. Now, this map it shows us East and West Punjab divided between the two nations, but there is a sense of undivided Punjab, and this map has been made by a radio station in the diaspora, and it shows you that how popular this idea of undivided Punjab remains till today, especially amongst Punjabi diasporic communities. And this brings me to instances of Indo-Pak collaboration in music. And again, illustrating the point about how Punjab sounds become the choice to articulate a popular and create a popular number. This is a Coke Studio song, Coke Studio Pakistan song from 2017 called Par Chana De, which again derives from the Soni Mahiwal love legend that we heard earlier. It's sung by Ali Noor and Ali Hamza of the band Noori and the Indian Bollywood singer Shilpa Rao. Both these sets of artists do not have roots in Punjab. Shilpa Rao comes from a Telugu-speaking family, and the Noori band are Muhajirs from the Lucknow, Aligarh region. But it has crossed 20 million views since it was released and is one of the most popular recent examples of Indo-Pak musical collaboration. The examples that preceded it were songs written in Hindi or Urdu, like Kya Khayal Hai in 2012 or Afreen Afreen in 1990. So this again raises important questions about the difficulty of defining the region. And that leads me to my next point, which is about the three affective grooves of Punjabi music, which are prominent in the present. The first is the rural folk song. The second is the love or wedding song. Third is Sufi Qawwali song. And each of these have a sense of nostalgia across borders as well. So how did these three come to stand for the region's music, displacing its equally rich traditions of classical and high art music? The answer lies in a historical shift which occurred in the social space of Punjabi music during the long 19th century, a time very different from today, when the idea of Punjab as a land of primarily folk music first took root. This was not an organic occurrence. It was produced very much through the transitions of colonialism. The main point I want to highlight is how in pre-colonial, pre-British Punjab, before the East India Company annexed, Maharaja Ranjit Singh was a major patron of the arts. I'm going to do a very quick 2-minute whistle-stop tour in the interests of time. And he was a major patron of musicians, dancers, and especially female performers. And there is an abundance of textual archives supporting this, and a little bit of visual painting material. But also the reason there is this discomfort with the presence of courtesans in Punjabi history, unlike, say, the presence of courtesans in the history of Lucknow or Hyderabad. Why has this memory been erased in Punjab far more effectively? And that goes back to the orientalized accounts of Ranjit Singh as a debauched monarch, where Nach girls were often depicted in European Orientalist accounts with wine or in sexually licentious poses, which actually obscured the real power that courtesans held under Ranjit Singh, as evident in this one of these structures that he built for his first courtesan wife, Bibi Mora. She was Muslim, and he faced a lot of opposition from the orthodoxy, yet he commemorated the marriage with her by striking coins or medals in her name, and she built many other structures as well. His second courtesan wife also built a lavish tomb for herself long after Ranjit Singh's death, just attesting to the power that some of these women held. And while these were wives, other courtesans who were not married to Ranjit Singh were also quite well paid and received very handsome salaries from him. Even prior to Ranjit Singh, you had in the late 18th century as well, and beyond Lahore, in regions like Multan in West Punjab, you had powerful courtesans like Murad Bakhsh, and I have written a recent article with Asad Fatimi on the courtesan Murad Bakhsh and how she was mobile and traveled in the late 18th century. But most of this background history to the power of female performers is detailed in my book, which offers the first cultural history of the region. I've pointed to these things. I'm not going to talk about the mirasis, who were a really important community along with the courtesans for the preservation of music in the region. I'm now going to just quickly skip to conclude. And since we don't have time, I will not speak about the mirasis. This is an image of middle-class women who were inducted into the public sphere of music. And this was only possible if the courtesans were demonized. So these are the women who began replacing courtesans. And this was accompanied with a devotionalization of music, which many of us are aware. The projects led by Paluskar, for example, and we do know that Paluskar started in Lahore. The mirasis were another group who were demonized, and they were also folklorized by colonial scholar administrators. And this is where the folk stereotype of Punjabi music can be seen to have its origins. So to conclude then, by foregrounding courtesans and bards as central agents within Punjab's evolving cultural infrastructures, this book recasts performance as integral to colonial social transformation rather than marginal to it. The transformations that this book traces are the very ground on which every example we have heard today exists. From Kanwal hearing Dina Kawal at an akhada in 1930s Hoshiarpur to Par Chanade accumulating 20 million YouTube views, what remains constant is this. Punjab is not a place that music describes, it is a place that music actively makes. The folk stereotype did not simply emerge, it was produced through colonialism, through partition even, through the gradual silencing of both the courtesan song and the marginalization of the classical. Understanding how it was made is the first step towards hearing Punjab whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Radha, for a wonderful presentation.